Welcome to A Woman's Brew, where women talk about beer. In today's episode of our Brave Noise interview series, we speak to Tom, co-founder of We Are Beer, and dare to be brave and make noise about their Brave Noise collab. I'm Joanne, and this is Tori.
Hello, hello.
And we're two beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us.
We're nice and brave, nice.
We're nice and brave nice.
Yeah.
We just want people to be like, yes,
Exactly.
I need to do
Just make it and drink it and buy it.
Yeah, surely it like shows a little bit of how good a person must be if they've actually brewed it as well, right? So it's like you're not going to get a dickhead coming on to being like talking about brave noise.
Well, yeah, you hope not.
Well, get ready, guys. Get ready for the next hour.
Yeah, you were like,
you know what? I was going to
beer.
I was going to cut out, but we're going to keep that in now. Right.
I'll tell you the truth about it.
We are here. We have got Tom, who is a co-founder of We Are Beer. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for coming on and having a chat with us.
Welcome.
Do you want to tell everyone like who you are, what you do, why you are here with us today?
Yeah, so I'm Tom Meyer and I'm the marketing manager at We Are Beer, and we put on festivals such as the London Craft Beer Festival, Bristol, Glasgow, which changed from Edinburgh, Manchester, and Beer Central in Birmingham.
So, all those festivals that, people are going to be listening to this, they're going to be like, I've never heard of that festival. Yeah. the big festivals.
Yeah.
It's funny though, because we're quite a small team, and I think people see us as like this massive thing, and we I think we definitely see ourselves as smaller than what we are, and we actually start to realize we have festivals all across the UK. Like, okay, we have some holding here, and obviously that's what we're going to talk about, Brave Noise, but that's all kind of partly to do with it.
Just out of sheer curiosity, because you mentioned, I know I said I'm not going to ask too much about events or anything like that. I'm going to be good today, try not to tangent.
That's not going to happen.
Already failed, did that.
Yeah.
How many people so you say you're quite a small team, how many people are you?
I mean, like core team, there's less than 10 of us. Considering all the festivals we put on, and considering that you normally have a team just do one festival a year. We squeeze a lot out of us, but
and your festivals aren't massively far. It's not like you've got one in 1 month and then months later another one and then months later another one. They're not massively far apart, are they?
No. Yeah, so we had Bristol last weekend, not to date the show, and then Glasgow is in 4 weeks, Manchester in 6, London in 10, and then Beer Central is mid-September. So yeah, they're all really close to each other, and we've kind of got the ball rolling now, so it's just festival. We just kind of keep going.
It's exciting though. I think that's very exciting. So what we're drinking, you have brewed a Brave Noise beer.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
You have dared to be brave and brew a Brave Noise beer with Lost and Grounded.
Yep.
Very exciting.
So obviously, as you can see on this can for people that are watching,
it's a
stout. I'm just kidding. It's a lager.
It's a lager because it's Lost and Grounded. So what else were they going to brew? Because they make amazing lagers.
Yes. You've kindly sent us the cans.
Yeah,
Thank
we've
you
got
for
the
that.
cans. We're very excited about these.
It's hard not to drink it too fast because it's really easy to drink. So.
Yeah. So how did the partnership with Lost and Grounded come about for this?
So originally it was actually myself reaching out directly to Ash, part of the Brave Noise team. So it came about because I'd seen kind of Kimberly talking about it on her stories, just saying like why there's so few UK breweries making this beer.
Yep.
And then I also was seeing Johnny Garrett from Craft Beer Channel. Obviously he did a homebrew version. Once again, the conversation it was having was like, why aren't breweries doing this? And we put on events. We're not a brewery, but I was like, well, hold on, we often do a festival beer for each festival. So I was like, well, why don't we just do one beer and have it the Brave Noise beer and just try and make as much noise as possible about what they're trying to do, and spread it across the UK and with our audiences at the festival and try and get press to talk about it, and as we'll talk about, in London having a bit more of a focus there as well for that, and yeah, just trying to be a bit more of a catalyst, I guess, of it. And so yeah, in getting in contact with those guys, we're then like, right, okay, which brewery should we approach? And they they'd already had already contacted Lost and Grounded about it, which we was obviously ecstatic about. And then that's kind of how it all came about. But it's come from people talking about it. This we wouldn't have brewed this beer if it wasn't for people talking about the Brave Noise beer and kind of questioning why it hasn't been brewed. So, I want to give as much credit to everyone who has been talking it, like yourselves as well. If it wasn't for you guys, have the Brave Noise, then we wouldn't have made this beer, and we wouldn't be taking it across all our festivals.
I didn't realize until you've just said it now that. So yes, I knew that like every year you kind of like do the festival beer. I hadn't realized that you had chosen this specifically to be the festival beer. Like I knew that it was going to be available. We'll talk about it in shortly. I knew it was going to be available at the festivals, but I didn't realize that this was effectively replacing that festival beer. So that is, I mean, in my opinion, that's quite a big deal. To turn around and go like to people that are looking at what's the beer going to be this year for the festival beer, and you're like, yeah, it's a Brave Noise. Like that is, I think, a pretty bold move. And I mean, I think it's quite good that you guys it's the reason we talk about it so much is I find it very frustrating, and I know, Joe, you share this as well. There's breweries that we know and pubs and tap rooms and all types of locations we know that are already doing the right things. Their minds are already aligned in the right place. We know that they're not, everything's above board. And we're just like, why don't you want to shout about that and tell people about that? So, yeah, I think it's just really, every time I see someone that's like, yeah, actually, we heard about that. And then we're like, yeah, why aren't we doing that? And then they do it. That is just, yeah, kudos there.
Yeah. And, it did take a while for me to kind of realize like, oh, it could just be the festival beer. What can I do? What can we do as a company? That was, after hearing everyone was like, well, what am I supposed to do? I don't brew. I'm not a home brewer. I can't make it. And I don't have a brewery. We can't do that. And it was just like, right, well, let's just make it the festival beer. It was just like, great, let's contact Brave Noise. Let's, so this is kind of, it's not just us kind of brewing the beer, obviously, because we've brewed a lager, but it was much more in, we wanted to collaborate with Brave Noise so that it just added a bit more gravitas to what we were doing, and just trying to, I work in marketing, so it was also trying to get that PR angle and just be like, look, we're going to bring the team over and they're going to come to London for our 10th anniversary festival, and this is going to kind of be like a central point that we want to talk about. This is our festival beer. These guys are over. That's also the festival that has the most breweries. There's 100+ breweries there. So maybe that will help, be a catalyst. They can actually talk to the team that founded Brave Noise, and hopefully from that conversations can be had and beers can be brewed for it. So yeah, it's kind of like the least we could do is how I've seen it.
And I think this is such a great example. Like, you're not a brewery, but you're still getting involved and spreading that message, which is, it's all about inclusivity in the brewing industry, in the brewing community. And you're a massive part of the beer community. So you can get involved, even if you're not a brewery, you're not a home brewer. Like, everyone can get involved in this. And there are ways of doing it if you just chat to people. I'm so glad that you chose to do this.
I think having the team over is going to mean a lot to a lot of people as well. Like, you didn't even have to take that one step further. You could have been like, yeah, we brewed this beer and hopefully you guys like it. And then you could have just gone, that's our festival beer. And that the fact that you're actively working to do PR around it is also a really positive thing. And I think it's natural, like Joe said, yeah, okay, you're not a brewery, but what you do is very important in the community and can make people feel either really safe or really not.
Yeah, I mean, that was also, where this has come from is that, when all the stories came out last year, And some of the things that came out were at festivals. They weren't necessarily saying it was our festivals, but festivals were mentioned. And then I was like, oh wow, like it took me back. I was like, do we do enough at the festival? Is there things that we could do better? And then when Brave Noise came about and it's talking about safe spaces, I was like, well, surely this is a perfect way to not only brew a beer, money to go to charities, get the team over, get people talking about it, but it hopefully will actually let people know, look, we are a safe space. We have the Everyone's Welcome initiative as well. As soon as that launched, we're like, amazing, posters up on the toilets, and just like a no nonsense, like if something happens, you're out kind of thing. So, and it was then briefing into all the security that we have now, and it's just become part of what we do. And that was happening before Brave Noise beer came out and talking about safe spaces, but I guess it elevated it to another level, to kind of, especially for me, to realize, wow, there's still a lot happening. There's still a lot that events and spaces need to do. Just as an example, I can't remember which podcast it was and who said it, but they mentioned how bars just having a rainbow sticker on entry, how impactful that would be.
Yeah.
So for the Bristol Craft Beer Festival, we got a rainbow flag and had it on the entry. Just a really simple thing, and we're like, why have we never done this before? It's so simple, and just to make everyone feel welcomed. That's our festival is all about celebration and discovery. So why wouldn't we want to celebrate the beer community in all its glory?
That's such a good point.
I think sometimes people, until somebody tells you that that's important to them, if that's not what's in your realm of thinking, because it's not been something that you've personally thought about in any way, like even if you were a person that was sort of in the LGBTQ community and you just never personally went, oh, for me to feel more comfortable, someone would put a flag out or something like that. If that's not something that's just in your realm of thinking for whatever reason, regardless of how you identify or if you're in that community or not, I don't think you have to be in that community to even naturally think about that. I think sometimes until someone points it out to you or you hear it from somebody else, you go, okay, that makes sense now, and now we do it. But until somebody says it, it may not even be in your train of thought, whether or not you're even in the community that they're speaking about. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it's just all about that education, really, and being open. And it's not like we have, as you can imagine, people give us feedback for the festivals, and sometimes it isn't things you want to hear, or but you realize, though, this is how we grow. This is how this person is doing it from a good place. They're trying to help us improve the festival as much as possible. So when I heard about the sticker, or in this case having a flag, it was just like, it's so obvious. And as you said, Tori, it's like, it's not something that I would have thought about. I wouldn't have thought of coming to a festival and being like, right, is this a safe space for the LGBTQ plus community? How can we show that it is? And there we go. There's something very easy there that on entry people should be able to just kind of like hopefully have a weight lifted and just be like, cool, I now know I'm stepping into a safe space. I can let my barriers down a little bit and actually have some fun. And that's what we want, obviously. That's the goal. I imagine it's probably quite difficult as well when it's your festival, because in your mind you're like, of course it's a safe space, like of course we want it to be a safe, inclusive space, and that's what you went into it with the thought process when you create things and put it together. And so obviously, like, it takes maybe somebody else coming to you and saying they had a less than ideal experience, or here's a way you could make it feel more comfortable, because you have that closeness. Until somebody points that out to you, it may be difficult to sort of separate and go,
okay, maybe we need to change this or that. So it's quite good though that you're open to the feedback when people do give you feedback, and that you do take it on board and consider it and go, actually, yeah, let's implement that. Or you are proactively listening to podcasts and going, yeah, that's a really good idea, why don't we do that? And you're willing to change and adjust and grow, because really, if you want the festival to grow and your audience to grow, it's like it needs to be inclusive, and it has to sort of organically grow with it. So I think that's a really beneficial thing to be doing, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's about doing the work as well, isn't it? Like, we can't all just be sitting along going, la la la, I'm not thinking about it, let's let those people tell us everything. You got to do the bit of educating of yourself as well to make sure that you're doing everything that you can.
Yeah, I mean, even the Brave Noise team, they have laid down a great foundation for people to just be able to go in, get the resources, and learn. I've seen too many times where I've heard people have DM'd women and being like, what's going on here then? What's, what do I need to do? And you're like, no.
I think Kimberly talks about it quite a lot.
Yeah,
of
definitely.
Being like, what do I do? And it's like,
yeah, and you're like, no. I don't have the hours to do this. You need to, if that's something you want to find out the answer to, you need to go and do the research. Here's some places you can go to start, but then if you want to learn, you need to go out there and find out more about it. And I think that's what I feel like I've done, and that's how this beer's come about. It's just been just trying to be a part of it, and we're good at a festival in that we do have actually a really good split between male and female, at least at the festivals. I think at the highest it's like 40-60% split, but that comes through actually thinking about just the marketing and like showing women. And then if we want to have if we're looking to make people of color welcome, showing those in the marketing as well, and not in a tokenism kind of way, but just trying to say, look, you are welcome, everyone's welcome. This isn't just like white men with beards, which is obviously I took my cap off. I actually took my cap off thinking like I can't wear a cap as well, which I normally do, and a flowery shirt or some kind of loud shirt. I was like, no, I won't.
I'm not playing into that stereotype.
I won't indulge in that. But there's so many of us, and that's it's so great having such a diverse audience at the festivals, and just seeing everyone having so much fun. And as I say, hopefully we are creating that safe space for people to be able to come and celebrate.
I was going to say, I can attest to it. I've been to quite a few of your I've gone to a few of your festivals now, and I would say this. I don't think you're being unfair and saying the split is pretty good, and it is. It feels like a safe space. I mean, I've personally felt quite comfortable, and I've been able to sort of feel like I don't have to be on guard when I'm sat with my friends having a beer. And last year I might have been having 2 beers in one go at a time, or probably shouldn't admit to that, because I definitely didn't do that. Redacted. But it was a really, I mean, all the ones that I've gone to have been a really good time and have felt quite safe. More to the actual festivals in a minute, but I've actually got a question back about the brew day, if we sort of reverse back for a minute. So circle back. So we saw on the day you were joined by Helen from Burham Collective and Emma from Mirakai. How did you work out who, in addition to the Lost and Grounded crew, you were going to have on that brew day?
So we basically said to the Brave Noise team, like, obviously you can't come over for the brew day. It's just not going to work. And in the time frame, we wanted to make sure that this beer was going to be at all festivals. It could quite easily not been at Bristol, but as soon as we knew Lost and Grounded were going to be the brewery to do the beer, it was like, how can you not have?
Yeah, it's got to be at Bristol.
The beer exactly, and it needs to be at Bristol Craft Beer Festival. So the issue we had is obviously they're in the States, we're in the UK. They're in different time zones to each other as well. Never mind our own one. Yeah. So you send an email, and the email they read it and they reply like 2 a.m. Yeah, and then someone else responds at like 5 a.m. and then you get it at 9 a.m. when you're going to the office. So I just messaged him saying, look, I know you guys can't come over. Who can we have that can kind of represent or be ambassadors to Brave Noise at the brew day? And there was a long list, and we tried to email everyone, but I think it was like the week of, and it was just we could have had easily 10, 12 different representatives there had we not had the tight deadline of Bristol to hit. But we were lucky that Emma from Mirakai and Helen from Brew Collective could come along. And the thing I don't know if people know about Lost and Grounding Brew Day is their kit is huge, and it
looked it from the
videos. It's all pretty much automated. So like to call it a brew day, I mean, I've heard like obviously what you guys had to do for brew day, mashing out and things like that. It's like no. This was like the easiest brew day I think I've ever done.
Do you not even have to dig out or anything? Was it one of those machines that automatically
did? It's all automatic. The thing we did. Look, I'm gonna take you behind the curtain and tell you what actually happened. All we had to do really was put some oats, I think, into the mash. That was it.
Wow.
And I think that was just for the photos. I'm gonna be honest.
Did you get to at least do an oat bay or something like that to make up for the lack of hot
well,
bay?
I was trying to like, just and we're done. So it was a very weird brew day in the sense that we did absolutely nothing. We had I'm gonna spill it. We had croissants and we had pastries. We had coffee made for us. I think halfway through, wow. Alex did like a vertical tasting of all the beers. It was probably the easiest brew day I've ever been a part of. But
next, you're going to tell me the temperature was a comfortable temperature. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't too cold.
To be fair, Ollie made us pizza and we got to try all the beers that we wanted to.
We
had lunch. We had lunch sent in. Yeah, we had it all. We were well looked after. But obviously, like it the whole point was just obviously is making the beer, and and it was great because I'd never met Emma before. I'd never met Helen before. And it was just really good, just obviously learning more about what they do. As I said earlier, it's all about education. It's just learning more of these things. And I was lucky enough me and Emma got the train home together, and it's just great, just having those conversations and
Emma's the best.
Learning so much. I was about to say I probably shouldn't mention Emma, because then does this mean that she's like on the podcast again?
Oh
God, God, she's on it again.
There you go. Can't get rid of her.
We're never going to live this down. She's on all the bloody episodes. Hi Emma, we love you.
Yeah. I opened the door. Oh, and I'm actually joined by Emma.
You were like, oh, hang on.
To be fair, I've got to say, we were very impressed at how quiet she kept it all, because we're in a Brave Noise group chat with all the ladies that worked on the Mirakai Brave Noise, and we share everything on there. And then like the video popped up for your beer, and we were like, and I was like, is that Emma? And then she's like, oh, I can tell you now. We were like, how did you keep that quiet?
Actually, what actually happened was we saw that, we were like, oh, and we messaged each other, we're like,
was that Emma?
But like, before we say anything, was that Emma in that photo? And then like, actually, I think it is. And I was like, oh, I don't know, do we ask her? Should we ask her? No, let's leave it. And then like a day later or something, she was like, so I can tell you all now. And we were like, yes, we saw you in a photo.
We were very impressed with her secrecy.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird because obviously like we were to give everything to Brave Noise team and kind of like wanted them to take the lead. We could quite easily have just taken this and been like, cool, they've agreed to this, and now let's like, milk it for everything that it's got and just push it everywhere. But it's like, no, I want them to be at the forefront. Even on the day, we had press come along as well towards the end. Of us being pampered, and it was like, right, I just want everyone to realize, like, I don't want you to talk about the festival. Obviously, talk about the beers at the festival, but this is about the Brave Noise beer. Yeah. This is about this beer being at the festivals and pushing that message and trying to explain why we're doing this, and because obviously we're in the craft beer community, everyone knows the last year what's been going on. Like everyone knows the stories, but even with all the stuff with Brewdog, everything that's came about that, and the levels that it's been documented. There's still, everyone in the craft beer industry knows about it, but everyone else has no idea.
Yeah.
So if we can not only share the message within the craft beer industry and the community, but also get the message out even further, then we feel like we're doing some good and helping Brave Noise, just especially in the UK, just really amplify what they're trying to do. So yeah, it was also very weird being a white cis male standing there telling everyone about Brave Noise, but obviously these were people who had no idea about it, and this was giving Brave Noise a platform ahead of the festivals to just kind of just push that. So yeah, it's the turnaround has been very quick. We just had Bristol Craft Beer Festival. The beer was labelled and cans sent to us on the Friday, but they were like done on the Thursday. So we've not even had time to properly like here it is.
Yeah.
And we've still got conversations to have with the Brave Noise team. And as I said, like because of the time difference, it's not like you can just message and be like, cool, are we good for this to go out tomorrow? Because tomorrow needs to like 2 or 3 days to actually liaise and get it out. So we want to make as big a splash as we can with this, get as many people talking about it. Obviously, I sent you guys the beer, and we will be sending this out to a lot of the ambassadors that could have been or should have been at the brew day if they could. And obviously these are people that are already talking about it, but the idea is that we can send it out further afield to other influencers and people we know in the community, that people that we've built relationships with for the last, well, London's been going for 10 years now, so those relationships and just getting that beer in front of people and just getting them to talk about it.
I think what it sounds like, what I hear you saying is like you actually took it seriously. Like you took it seriously and you took it to heart, and you didn't just go, you didn't just go, I can go in here, there's either money to be made or press. Money in the sense of press to be made, where press is your job, you could have easily turned around and been like, how can we work this in our favor and just do the bare minimum of what we need to do? And it doesn't sound like you guys did the bare minimum. It sounds like you actually took it to heart, researched it, and wanted it to be about the beer. and I can't say that I think everybody in that same situation would have behaved the same. So I think that is worth mentioning. You guys also chose to do a lager. So obviously you kind of know it's Lost and Grounded, so that's probably one big reason why you chose to do the lager. But how, in terms of the recipe, did you adapt that? What did you keep from the recipe, or did you just ditch it all and do a whole new recipe? How did that work?
I think they oh God, I wish Alex was here now to tell
that's
me
okay.
about
Say
it.
what you know, and if you don't, then that's fine as well.
But he obviously saw what the Brave Noise beer was, and what hops they were using, and it was kind of like, right, well, lager is our specialty, but we'll add a twist to it. And to be honest, I didn't even know this was going to be a lager. I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure we're going to do just the pale ale and swap out some of the hops. And it was a lager. I was like, of course it was a lager. What was I thinking?
Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah. But as we were saying earlier, like, I don't know if anyone else in the UK has brewed a lager. So it's quite special in that sense as well, that we get to be a part of that and have a lager. But I guess the process for us was like, we didn't necessarily just want to brew the Brave Noise beer. If in my mind, if the UK beer industry or the consumer was already kind of, I don't want to say bored about hearing about Brave Noise or the same beer kind of being brought out, then it was like, right, well, how can we switch this up a little bit and not just have that beer? And all our festival beers, when all the festival beers are sessionable beers. Like we make that's the kind of the purpose always is to have a sessionable beer. So when we went to Lost and Grounded, we just like, right, we just want this to be a sessionable beer. So obviously they took that to be a sessionable lager. And I mean, it's great because I've had some people try it and being like, do you know what? I don't really like lagers that much, but there's something about this that's a bit different. And that's definitely kind of Lost and Grounded, just kind of taking the brief and running with it a bit. I mean, you know, if anyone knows Alex and his history in beer and, you know, history with lagers especially, you know, he knows how to make a lager, and it was absolutely fascinating to be at the brew day and just he was guiding us around, and, you know, not to add to the how easy this brew day was, but you know, drinking Keller Pills fresh from a tank.
Oh, nice.
And like trying
That's
it
a humble
like
brag.
yeah. Not only did we try it from the tank, we tried from two different tanks at different stages, so we could properly see the difference in the lagers and you know how important lagering is for the beer.
Big geek points right there.
There we go. So you know it. So drinking the beer. This was the first beer I drank at Bristol Craft Beer Festival. That's the beer I wanted to start with, and you know we got some notes from Alex, and he was like, yeah, there's like really sessionable. It's got this kind of, it's like crispness to it, but it's got this oranginess to it. And I was trying it. I was like, okay, it still just tastes like a lager to me, but here's a guy who obviously lives and breathes lager, and something as subtle as an orange like coming through is going to be so much bigger for him and his palate than it was for mine. But you know, I was just proud that the beer was poured at the festival and I got to try it and being like, right, well, I've had involvement with this, and you know, this is our beer for the festival. So it's great.
It is absolutely beautiful. Like, for those that are watching the video, I'm showing it now. It is like beautifully clear yellow, the lovely foamy head that's just lacing around my glass, and it is so drinkable. Like, I get that when you said orange, there's something. It's a beautiful sessionable lager, and then there's something, and I couldn't quite work out what it was. So if Alex says it's orange, then we'll believe him.
I totally should have just taken for it. Yeah, I should have just said it as my own, shouldn't I? Really?
Yeah, I got these notes. I got these orange notes.
Is anyone else getting orange? Anyone else getting orange here?
Anyone else getting that?
Is it just my taste buds? Is anyone else getting orange?
I suspect that it went down incredibly well at the festival, because I feel like there's never enough lagers. And I think this would go down really, really well.
Yeah, I mean, this year's range of beers at the festival, like you never know what's going to happen, like year to year. Obviously, you know, the flavour du jour, if you like, changes every year, and you're always just like always there being like, what's it going to be this year? What's going to happen?
Didn't think that was going to kick first.
Yeah, but there were just so many sours actually this year, which was just great. But then we try and obviously get brewers that we know will make certain styles. So Lost and Grounded being there, Budvar being there, we had some really like great lagers. And you know, Lost and Grounded being a Bristol brewery meant that people were going there, and you know, it's great because then people were trying the beer. I was just bumping into people I knew, and they're like, I was like, oh, you need to go and try the Brave Noise. We're like, already had it. It's amazing. Like, you know, that they like saw it on the list. I'm gonna go try it. So
amazing.
You know, it's great to you know, as simple as it being on Untapped, right? Something like that. You know, at the festival, you know, people use a lot of all the different apps, but you know, to have people check in Brave Noise beer at the festival, and then people going through and seeing it, you know, that even something as simple as that, just having that awareness that was there, can make an impact. It could make a very small impact, but it'll make an impact nevertheless. But yeah, everyone on the team were like, we're trying our best not to drink it.
I can imagine it is. I mean, 4.6%. It is it is very sessionable, and I can see on like a nice sunny day how you could just sit outside, and it pairs well with food as well. And so it's like at festivals you're eating street food and you want something that's going to pair well with it, and like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that will probably pair well with food, but I feel like lagers always tend to be a safe bet to pair with like street food, and so that's like probably the perfect thing to pair with food as well. And you mentioned it was canned sort of like the Thursday.
Yep.
And then went out. I know you're serving it at the festivals, but can people, if they're not able to go to a festival, can they buy cans of it, or is it literally exclusive to buy at the festivals?
No, I think we wanted to kind of, we didn't want to tie people down to being like, right, let's use this. As I said earlier, we could easily use this as a marketing ploy. This has only been served at the festival. If you want to try it, you need to come to the festival, and that's the only place you can get it. Not the case. Lost and Grounded will be selling it, so people will be able to find it. As I said, because it's just been canned, and then they came to the festival. I don't know when it's actually going to be on like the list to buy, but there will be beer available. But then, we're also trying to make sure that we get it into as many people's hands at the festival. So we couldn't have it on our merch stand this time, but I think the idea is at the festivals that the beer will be there to buy with then donations going across. And looking at other ways, just having a merch stand, maybe like pay an extra £2 and let it go to Brave Noise. And then for London, the Brave Noise team are actually going to bring some of their merch over, and have a stand. And we're just trying to work out logistics of what we can actually do. Obviously, we've got other festivals in between, so it's hard to just focus on London. But part of me it'd be great to try and get some of the breweries that have made a Brave Noise beer that aren't invited along, and whether that's serving beer or at the very least, I'd want them to come as guests and just kind of, I don't want to say just like pat themselves on the back and be with each other, but it's been a year. Yeah, exactly. And it's been a tough year. And, I think when the anniversary hit, the question was like, what's been achieved and how can we keep this going? It was actually quite poignant that I think we brewed the beer the day after the anniversary. So it was like, it felt like, right, I could see people asking the questions and being like, well, we're here, we're going to try and help. hopefully we can. So I'm just hoping we can get enough people down. I hope that people are free who have made the Brave Noise beer to come to London on us, and just to meet the team and just get that message out to more and more people.
Amazing.
You mentioned charity.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
You mentioned charity. That was like the perfect segue into what our next question we had written down was, which is, who is the charity that you're supporting, and was there a particular reason why you chose this charity? Was it close to your heart for any reason?
So the first charity that's been chosen, I'll have to actually remember the name, but it was chosen by Lost and Grounded, and it's a specific Bristol charity working with women. The plan I was kind of had was to look at each festival, each location, and hope to pick a charity local to each, so that we can feel like we've had an impact in the city that we're in. Obviously, that all depends on how much we raise. This is what I was obviously saying about the merch stand and things like that, and just trying to get a cut of that going towards it. So I think we're going to take it festival by festival and try and help local charities that support women causes in each one. I'm not saying that donating to bigger charities is a bad thing, but with everything that's happening right now in the world, cost of living, Brexit, Corona still rearing its ugly head, the smaller people are definitely feeling it a lot more. So we're definitely going to be asking people, which charity should we be looking at locally for each of the festivals to try and help, because once again, talk about educating ourselves, that there's other people out there that know better than we do. So if there's people that people want to recommend, then we're all ears. So for Manchester, Glasgow, London, and Birmingham.
People are listening to this that live in those areas and they either work for a charity or know a really good charity. Where's the best place that they can send you their recommendations for you to look into?
Send it directly to me. Is it going to be weird to send out my email on this?
if you want us to put the email out, we can
Let's do
put
it.
it there.
Let's do it. Just message me at Tom at wearebeer.com. And yeah, I'm all ears. We just want to make sure it goes to the right people.
It's really difficult picking the
It's
charities.
hard.
Actually, we had numerous ones that we wanted to use, but like didn't quite fit what we wanted, or
Can't accept
like,
alcohol
they
donations.
wouldn't accept donations that have been brought about by alcohol because of what they did and things like that. It's really difficult. So yeah, if anyone's got any good ideas, we'll put that email address in the show notes. Please pass them on.
Don't sign them up for email stuff. That is
don't sign them up for email stuff. That's rude.
That is rude.
And you won't get lager.
Just to say, I don't think anyone was thinking that until you said
until you said it.
Sorry, maybe that's just what we do to each
you.
other at work. So it's fine.
Cool. I look forward to see what I've subscribed. What I've subscribed
to. We'll be getting cat facts soon. That's the good one that we like to go to. Is cat facts.
I'll take it. It's better than some of the other emails I'm getting. So yeah, let's do it.
At least it's not like it's safe for work. It's cat facts. It's fine.
Yeah.
I've got a question, which you can feel free not to answer, and we can easily cut this out. But a genuine question that came out because you mentioned Brewdog. If you had a brewery that wanted to be involved in your festival, I think Kimberly's asked similar people this question, which is what made me think of it. If you had a brewery that wanted to be involved in your festival and they had a substantial amount of allegations against them, like, is that somebody that you would sort of allow to attend the festival, or would that be something that you'd be like, actually, we don't want those breweries at the festival?
So internally, whenever a new brewery is kind of brought in, whether that's someone who wants to kind of like pay to come to all our festivals, I mean, it's normally those guys that the question's always brought to us as a team and being like, what about these guys? And then we have to go like, oh, no, we can't have them because of X, Y, and Z. So we are an invite only festival, but we still have partners that come to all festivals. And there are some people that do obviously pay to come. You mentioned Brewdog, that's a great example. Like we just couldn't work with them like now. There's just no way what's happening now we could work with Brewdog. And McKellar as well, we're starting to see, I think, some things working out there. But it's still not the time to have those conversations. And as I mentioned earlier, there's some people that have no idea about what's happening with Brewdog. There's people that have no idea what's happening at McKellar. And we're quite lucky that our audience isn't just all people in the know. There's people that are just starting their craft beer journey with us. I remember doing a survey not too long ago, a few years back, and you're asking people, what's your favorite brewery or what's your favorite beer? And it was Beavertown, Brewdog, and Punk IPA and Neck Oil. It was, and you're like, you're quite surprised, but then you're like, well, this is London, and there's, something like 13,000 people here. Not all of these 13,000 people are beer geeks that know the ins and outs of beer, or are on the wheel of the craft beer drinker. They're still at the beginning. They've not gone full circle to lagers and milds, as I now have.
I was going to say,
I'm
it
being
all
called out
circles
right
back.
now.
I feel personally attacked. I
Yeah.
feel like it does come back around, and by the time you're drinking like lagers again, you're like, oh god, you've gone through all, like, it's like the 7 stages of grief, but it's like all the stages of beer, and then you find yourself back at lager.
Exactly. You're like, oh wait a minute, this is where it all started. This is what I was.
I hated this.
And then
I was
you
running
become
away from
Haylock
this.
from Omnipolo.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people there that just don't know about what's going on. But and also, we could quite easily work with Brewdog or McKellar or something like that, and a small percentage of people at the festivals would talk about it, and yes, there'd be people messaging in, but as I said earlier, if you actually look at how many people come to the festival, and that the bubble that we're in craft beer, we'd still sell tickets. That I not to looking at another festival that was in London that might have had said brewery in, and I watched Kimberly's live chat, and I just found it very, very weird and very concerning. That some of the kind of, I don't want to say reasons, because it did sound more like excuses that were coming up, and I found it very weird that it was a week before the festival and some of the stuff that was mentioned. I also am not shocked that no one really spoke about what was mentioned within that chat, and that the festival was still very well attended, and Brewdog beers were handed out during the break, and everyone was drinking it. It was hard.
I did hear that.
Yeah, I definitely heard some things about that particular festival that I was just like, you're supposed to be supporting breweries and up and coming breweries.
It was hard to hear.
You're kind of doing things. I hear you're doing things that don't do that.
It was just hard to hear, because whether or not there was in there, because it very well might have been out of that control of the people. It was out. It could be out of context, and it might be out of the actual festival's control by that point if somebody's handing out free beer or whatever else. But all I know is seeing the people that that are in the industry talking about people are not coming to my stall because they're going to get free beer. It was hard to read. People that make really good product, and you're just like, oh, my heart breaks for you.
And after the year we had, as
people
well,
are struggling.
It was just like, okay, this I really thought we'd be beyond where we are now, but as I say, it part of it is that we are just in our little bubble, and it's trying to break through that. So as I said, and I keep saying that's why I hope that we have more of a catalyst for what's going on, and not all our attendees are would call themselves craft beer geeks or knowledgeable about craft beer. They drink it, they enjoy it, they enjoy the discovery. If we can add a little bit of education into that with Brave Noise, especially with London, with the team being there, it's only gonna improve the industry and point us in the right direction to where we all want to be. So I think, as I keep saying, it's just that education that we're really trying to hone in on.
Yeah, and I mean, I just want to caveat my question's not even coming from a place of anybody that wants to see Brewdog. They're shaming anyone that wants to see the likes of Brewdog or somebody, or McKellar or whoever else there. It's not to shame them whatsoever. It was just using that as you mentioned Brewdog, so I was like, actually, I'd quite like to know that, and I appreciate you answering honestly, because I mean, we've talked about it before with the beer fridge guys. It's about asking awkward and uncomfortable questions, and I appreciate that. This came out of left field. I didn't ask you this normally. If it was quite a difficult question, I might sort of just say in advance, are you okay for me to do it? But it didn't pop into my brain until you mentioned Brewdog. So I appreciate you being quite candid and answering the question, and not being like, oh, that's a bit of too awkward for me. So
no, it's totally fine. This is a point I want to kind of get across. We are really trying our best here with all our festivals to do the right thing. And there are we are still making mistakes. There's probably still some breweries that are at the festivals that shouldn't be, but until someone tells us otherwise, or we learn more about it, we don't know. It's been really hard this last year to keep up with everything as well.
Oh yeah.
I've read all the stories from Brianne, from Siobhan. It's been from Fanny as well.
Yeah.
It's been hard to you are taking out a time to go through it, and it's not like anyone's created a blacklist or anything like that, or
no.
There's so much going on that all we can do is try our best and just make sure that we're making what we think are the right choices. We could have easily got Brewdog along and got a whole audience of Equity for Punks and people who have been drinking Brewdog in pubs across the UK, and they'd be like, cool, Brewdog gonna be at the festival, and they'd be like, oh, cool. Because what people forget is all the hype breweries that we all love and want to see mean nothing to
those
a lot of the audience.
Yeah.
Whereas you bring in a Beavertown or a Brewdog, and they're like, oh, cool. If they've got those guys in, everyone else must be at that caliber.
Yeah,
so it's really funny that you say that, because it's the Brew by Numbers Festival. I was like, holy shit, Holy Goat's gonna be there. That is amazing. I was like, I cannot wait to see the bangers that Holy Goat and Tartarus and all those, but like, you know, Jester King's gonna be there, and
Yeah.
it's just really funny, the idea that someone's like, oh yeah, Brewdog's gonna be there. I wonder if like Beavertown are gonna be there. Like, oh, Beavertown gonna be there. That's gonna be
But
amazing.
there are
But
people who that's their entry to
you forget that.
craft beer. Yeah, we're
I think you
way down
forget,
that road.
because
You've got to remember
because
those
we're further
people who are
down
just
that
getting
road.
there.
As a
Exactly.
person that got in through
Yeah.
Brewdog,
Yeah.
you know, and I am further. I mean, over in the UK, I got in through Brewdog.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that's very much like you forget about that when you get so far down the line, and it's like, you know, if I went to one of those people like, yeah, holy goat, can't wait for those bangers, they'd be like, what?
Yeah.
Well, firstly,
Yeah.
they'd also drink the beer and be like, what the
What
fuck
is
is
Am
this?
I
this?
drinking?
They'd be like,
What is this?
isn't
What have you
beer.
given me?
This is not beer.
Have some of this
Yeah.
Blood Eagle.
I
It's Flanders
I remember,
Red.
yeah, that actually happened with me, the Duchess. Me and my friend, who we just got into craft beer, we heard that Bruges was like the place to go.
Yep.
Going there, and we was just like, what is all this beer? What is this? And like just randomly picking the Duchess out and trying it and being like,
Oh.
what is wrong with this beer? Like,
What is wrong with this beer?
yeah,
There's nothing
but
wrong
also-
with it. It
but
is
no,
perfect.
now
What
it's
are you
one of my favorite
talking about?
beers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's
I
one that
absolutely
you
love
don't
it.
just go from like, that's like going
Yeah.
0 to 100. You
Yeah.
just you gotta.
Oh, we did it,
dip a
and we went
toe in.
there. Yeah, we went. We just cannonballed straight into it.
I love that.
But you know, also, I mean, the hard pill to swallow for all of us, I think, right now is that it's very obvious that Brewdog or a Beavertown or a Camden or something like that would have been our entry into craft beer
Yeah.
right now if we just
100%.
started.
Yeah.
So you really can't judge people's journey if this is where they're
Absolutely not.
starting, and that's kind of like where we sometimes try to work with those guys, because we understand that you know, this is the start of the journey for a lot of people. We've just been in it for too long that we don't realize you know what everyone else is doing. And obviously it's not a niche thing anymore. We have to, you know, if you treat this like the music industry, you know, this isn't like it's like a new band, right? When you're the first person to hear it, and then suddenly they get big, and then you're like, oh, now everyone's listening to it. It's the same. It is very similar with craft beer. Like, oh, everyone's drinking it now, or oh, they sold to this label, so now I can't listen to them, even though I still enjoy the beer or whatever. So it's yeah, we really try. I mean, like we go on about this a lot, and pretty much all the marketing we do is based on there's other stuff. The two main things are celebration and discovery. That's kind of like the two things that we always hone in on. So we try not to talk about the negative a lot. And you know, even with Brave Noise, there is obviously this massive negativity side to it all. But what we're trying to do is just to push that celebration and just try to make people understand that like this is about celebrating the diversity of an audience and having a safe space for us all to celebrate and discover new beers. That's it.
That's amazing. That's exactly what we want to hear, really, isn't it?
I think so, yeah, pretty much. The Everyone's Welcome initiative, obviously we touched on that at the beginning. Could you talk a little bit more about sort of what that is a bit more further, what you guys have in place and had in place before this?
Yeah, so I think it was something that we had in place. It just wasn't really named, to be honest. Like we've got a really good operations team. I mean, ask any of the breweries that come to our festival, like probably the biggest compliment we get is how well organized it is, which, you know, it's a boring thing to be complimented on, but you know, we had people who'd recently gone to a different festival last weekend, then came to Bristol, and like, oh god, we're so happy to be here, and like, you know, you're looking after us, you're making sure we've got everything and everything's working.
It's important.
It is. I mean,
I was going to say, you say it's boring, but it's not boring for a festival, is it? Like,
it isn't. It's the foundations.
Yeah,
it really is the foundations for everything. So within that operations plan is obviously, you know, there's health and safety, but then there's going beyond that as well and looking at the safety of everyone that's there. So, you know, we're aware that we need to brief security. We need to make them aware of what's happening. You know, Ask Angela thing was around, you know, before Brave Noise and before the Everyone's Welcome initiative. So we had that in place as well. And I think when the Everyone's Welcome initiative came about, it was just really having, it sounds really stupid, but just having posters literally stating what the Everyone Welcome initiative is, having it in the toilets so that everyone can see it. You're at a beer festival, you're going to go to the toilet, obviously. It's the nature of it, but just having it plastered everywhere and just making sure that people understand, if you're a dick at the festival or if you make anyone feel unsafe, then you're out. It's non-negotiable. You can't have fun on someone else's behalf, for whatever reason. So yeah, I guess for anyone who doesn't know what the Everyone Welcome initiative is, it's basically saying to anyone coming, you can be yourself no matter what your sexuality, your race. You can come and have a good time, and if anyone is causing any trouble for you, you let us know and we'll come and sort it out. That's what it is. And I think we're, as I said, it's part of the foundation of the operations team. It's something we do. It's just that it then got a name, and it then had posters that we could print out, so we could have that there. Similarly, as when I mentioned, hearing someone say about putting a rainbow sticker on the door, it's like, right, let's get a rainbow flag and just make it obvious from the start that people can come and this is a safe space for them. So yeah, we're just grateful. There's more people talking about this, and I remember when I think it first launched in 2018. I think it was, and it was great seeing pubs and bars all messaging in to people that started it, and saying, we are this is the initiative that we're running with it, and this is what it is, and this is what it means. So it was great that people could start seeing safe spaces, and not to say that other places weren't that didn't have it, but I guess there's some education once again needed there to spread that message out and just let people know that this is important to a lot of people that will be looking at coming to your venue. We all do it. You find out a new pub or something your friends want to meet you at, you go on Google, you start searching, you start looking at it, and I think something realizing from the last year is that a lot of women actually then looking like, right, how safe is this for me? Where is it? I think Tori, you've mentioned in previous podcasts, right, how am I going to dress to go to X place? Like, I have to do some checks before I go out, and that's something I've never had to think about, and that was just like, kind of a bit of a mind blown moment of being like, wow, I'm so oblivious to this and so naive to kind of like the real world. So it was like, right, well, us as festivals, if this is a place where everyone is welcome, then we need to just make sure that is implemented. So security are briefed. Everyone, we make sure that people know that they can go to security guards, anything that's happening, point out the person, let us know what happened, and we'll get rid of them, because we don't want those people at our festivals. Yes, they were not going to come next year, but that's fine. We'd rather have nice people.
I mean, I guess it's the, drunk is not an excuse, is what it is. Probably one of those things of, I think a lot of time, I think we can be guilty of not reporting things when someone's too drunk and maybe says something, because you're like, I don't want to cause I don't want to cause a fuss. I don't want to, his friends are saying he's just too drunk. And while that's upsetting to me in the moment, you're like, oh, I don't really want to cause a fuss. I don't really want to do this. So I think hopefully people hearing this, if they know that part of what you're promoting is like being too drunk isn't an excuse, even if you're a really lovely guy or girl or non-binary, anything like that.
Yeah.
If you're a really lovely person and you just happen to be too drunk, that's still not an excuse to be inappropriate towards another human being. And people need to report it. And what you're saying is like, they can go and they can report, even if it is that type of case. And it's not just flat out someone's, blatantly harassed me, but somebody's drunkenly been inappropriate. You can go to your staff and you can say something and they'll be handled accordingly, I'm assuming.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is going to sound weird considering we're an all-in ticket where people can drink as much as they want. People get to people think they're going to drink a lot more than they will. But also because of the nature of the festival, like we definitely push it as like it's all about discovery. It's not about, you know, knocking back beers. And it's been great to see that generally our audience get to a level and they're kind of like, it's almost like being drunk is a secondary element to it. I mean,
craft beer.
It happened to me a lot when I was going to festivals. I remember like being like, I'm annoyed. I'm really annoyed. I'm drunk because I want to try more beers.
Yeah.
I want to try more beers. I can't drink anymore. So we're lucky, like, you know, within a year, there's a handful of people that need to be taken away. But, you know, once again, security and everyone on the bars are briefed. If anyone, just as if you went to a pub, if someone come up to your bar and is visibly drunk and, you know, behaving in those kind of ways, the security come over and take them out. That's it. It's done. There's almost like being drunk can't even be the issue there, because like they shouldn't be, they won't be there anyway. So yeah, you know, it does take, you know, there is still, we still need help from the breweries to inform us when stuff's happening. But that's why, you know, the team have radios, security have radios. We can be there, or someone can be there to help, not just security. But that does take the breweries, and it does take the general public coming to understand that, especially, you know, you have the everyone's welcome initiative, like posters there to understand, like, if you have an issue, go to security, ask for Angela, whatever you need to do, there are people there that will come and help in the situation. So, you know, obviously we take responsibility for everything that happens, but, you know, part of it does need people to help as well. And you know, I think after last year, I think we're getting very good at seeing things and calling things out. You know, it's, you know, Black Lives Matter, everything that's happened with in beer specifically the last year. You know, no one's taking this shit anymore, basically. Like it's starting to realize, like, this has gone too far and things need to be done. So if what we can do is to create a safe space, and if we can make sure that people can report it in the right way and have people come over straight away and not kind of question what's been said, like, oh, well, did they do that? Was there any witnesses? Stuff like that.
Right. That is definitely a barrier, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, it's like he said, she said kind of thing kicks in. But, you know, that's not the point. Why would someone want to get someone kind of kicked out if there wasn't a reason? Like, it's just, it doesn't make any sense.
It's not the vibe of the festival, really.
No.
It's not that vibe for somebody to just walk up and be like, yeah, that person said something inappropriate, kick them out. Like, that's not, it's not the type of environment that really promotes those behaviors.
Yeah. So yeah, that, you know, if that's what we have to do. It's our responsibility, but you know, it does take some people's helping us with that along the way as well.
So, I mean, you can train up your staff to the greatest will in the world. You can put the you know, the procedures in place for if something were to happen and be reported, and you can put flyers up. But at the end of the day as well, if people are too you know, apprehensive to report, too nervous to report, you know, they're afraid to report. At the end of the day, if they don't report, you can't do anything. So I hope people hear this that are going to your festivals, and hopefully they experience absolutely zero issues, and I'm sure that that's going to be the majority of the case. But if somebody does hear this and they do experience something inappropriate, I hope that their one takeaway is that you guys are 100% committed to making sure everyone feels safe and comfortable and wanted and all that. And if they have a problem, don't be afraid to report it, because they can't get help and you can't do anything about it if they're too afraid to report. Do you guys do any anonymous reporting at all? Or is there any?
That's actually what I was actually mentioning. It's like, you know, speaking to Brave Noise and starting this collaboration, they have put us in touch with people, and I think sadly it's going to be too late to implement them to the festivals this year. But I think Not Me was one of the suggested things we looked at. And I mean, we ourselves did have we had like a work like WhatsApp kind of number that just kind of didn't go to like anyone specific to report anything. I mean, nothing was reported. Whether that was because I'm not saying nothing happened, but it was there as a safety net for that. But yeah, since speaking to Brave Noise, it does mean, and what they were suggesting for the festivals, it's like, great, we've got this great foundation. How can we make that better? So how can we make, if someone is too afraid to go up to someone and say, this very aggressive person, I want them kicked out, and fearful of the repercussions, that is where something like the Not Me app can help. So yeah, we are looking at those things, for the future. And yeah, we obviously, as I keep saying, we just want to have these safe spaces. So if there's something like that's already there and we can implement, then great. It's just going to make everyone, as I say, it could just be a safety net. It might not get used, but people know that it's there, which means people will come and people will feel safe, and that's the key.
It's the hope that it's one of those, you hope it doesn't need to be used, but you don't want to be in a situation where it's not there when it's needed the most, because by that point it's too late, effectively.
Exactly that.
I've actually got a question about the Brave Noise team being at London. I mean, is there, you mentioned that they were going to be there. Is there any plans for like a formal chat? Are they going to have a booth? Is there going to be anything in particular with them in the way that you can, utilize them at the festival to have these conversations? Anything planned, really?
So they'll definitely have their own stand, their own area. As I said, like whether it be too difficult to try and get the breweries that have created a Brave Noise to come along and serve the beer, or at least we want them to be there to help have the conversations, because obviously having a team of 3 come to talk to possibly 13,000 people over the weekend, it isn't going to be enough. So we are obviously, it's our 10th anniversary as well, and with London especially, we have a lot of fringe events, so we are hoping to try and have something planned with the Brave Noise team to chat more about it. So whether it's all TBC, to be honest, but we want to utilize their time while they're over here, so there will be opportunities for that. But I think, to be honest, the most important thing is them being around the UK breweries, and during the breaks and during the build to be around, and for breweries to be able to come up and talk to them. And I saw Helen send her message out, or Borrow Collective I should say as well, like messaging to say, if you've had thoughts about doing it but are unsure, of if there's barriers stopping you, like, get in contact, we can help. So I'm hoping that that's what will happen with the team being there, that any barriers that people will have, that they can come along and talk to the team and just learn more about what they're doing and why they're doing it, and just trying to break down these barriers to just help people create these Brave Noise beers. So yeah, there definitely will be some form of like fringe event, but I think for us it would just be important for them to be there and talk to people. So it could very well be that they are roaming around some of the sessions as well and just talking to people. I mean, I can imagine that's something that they want to do as well, and connect. Let's not forget, it's a team made up of beer lovers.
Yes.
Yeah,
this isn't this isn't just about they're not going to kind of go around in a kind of like similar to like a religious kind of way of going around, like trying to convert people. The conversations are going to be around beer. It's going to be around the community. It's going to be around the celebration of it, and hopefully through those, that's where people can actually kind of like, right, yeah, we need to get involved in this. So that's kind of like my biggest hope from London is to suddenly see a massive spike in Brave Noise beers, and not necessarily having to be the Brave Noise beer, and maybe it's people brewing it without the Brave Noise logo or anything like that, but it's people that are talking about the situation and still donating to a charity and things like that. And maybe that's how it goes forward. Maybe it grows kind of organically into that, and it just kind of weaves in a bit. But it would mean that Brave Noise still like lay down the foundations for all of this.
I mean, I've said it numerous times as well. I think I hope to see a point where, yes, okay, the new deadline for Brave Noise beer is the end of this year. December, I think it is when your beer has to be out by. But I know that there are some breweries that are either smaller and they can't physically do it because they contract brew, or they, it's just the way their schedule works and the size of their brewery, like they physically just can't do it. And that's totally valid, totally fair. But I would like to see that in future, even once this initiative quote unquote ends. I don't envision this as something that's ever ending per se. Like, yes, we want there to be equality, but there's always going to be a drive to push for more and more. And I don't want to see this be something that ends, hence why we keep doing these series and talking with as many people as we can for as long as we can.
Yeah.
And I think, okay, maybe they don't brew the recipe, or they don't put the label on it, or they do something that still is in the spirit of Brave Noise and donating to the charity, and pushing for equality and inclusivity. And so I think you're totally right with that. And I think it'd be amazing to see after how if there's any numbers that go up after speaking to them, of who's going to actually commit to brewing a Brave Noise.
And we've definitely learned, like, from going to festivals, from being part of festivals now, that's really the breeding ground for ideas, collaborations, networking.
Huge.
It's so important. Like, we didn't realize until we started doing this how important that is for collaboration and innovation in the craft beer community and industry. So hopefully by you guys having that there, it's going to create that collaboration.
Yeah, I mean, I'd really be surprised if
Not
out of London specifically. Exactly. As we're saying, like, with the festivals, what's always been great is seeing, you have the festival, and then 4 or 5 weeks later, a beer is made by two of the breweries that were there. You're like, well, we helped facilitate that. We started those friendships, or excuse me, seeing, let's face it, some breweries, the other breweries, it's like the rock stars. I'm like, oh my god, I got to brew with this person who I adore and love their beers, and I got to collaborate with those. And it is a I guess, if let's say, like a hot pot of people coming together and then just like mixing and creating. And I think especially with brewers, who are often described as being quite further back and not wanting to be so much in the limelight, but when they're together, and then they you can see those conversations being had about recipes, or how did you do this, how did you do that, and then seeing the beers that come out of it, it's great. So I will be really surprised if things don't come out from especially from London, from the Brave Noise team coming over. Have
you got any tips for people that want to start doing this or are thinking about it, like, because you're coming at it from an events point of view? Have you got any kind of fresh thoughts for people if they want to get involved?
I mean, I'd say for me, like, so I actually messaged Johnny first to say, hey, saw that you spoke to the Brave Noise team, can you connect me with someone? So I think the first point was like, who do I reach out to? Who do I actually, I don't like, almost like, oh, I don't want to bother someone from the Brave Noise team by just messaging who don't know who we are or anything like that. So my thought was like, oh, I need an in, and be like, oh, hi Ash, Johnny, and you spoke to him, with actual fact that wasn't needed. I could have just messaged and say, we do these events, we'd love to help in some way, can we collaborate together? And as simple as that. I mean, obviously that's like a step further than what people even need to do, because you don't even need to go that far. Everything is on their website. If you just want to brew the beer, or if you just want to learn about, right, here's how you create a code of conduct, here's what you need to do with that. We were lucky once again that that's something we've already had, and we share with breweries before they come. It's like, here's what you need to know before you come, here's how you need to behave, you're in charge of your staff, this is what you need to make sure they behave in a certain way. So I mean, all the resources are there. You don't need to, you don't need to go as far as probably we did by contacting the team directly. Everything's on their site. But I mean, what I'd suggest is there are people like yourselves that are quite happy to point people in the right direction.
Yeah.
As I said, Helen from Borum Collective has sent a message out saying, email me, here's our email, get in contact, let us know what you need to know. So I think it's just reaching out. It's the first step, as it normally is with anything, right? It's just reaching out and yeah, just taking that first step into it. And I guess if whatever reason you can't do it, or circumstances mean that you can't, at least you've made the effort to try and get there. So no one's going to kind of like crucify you because you spoke to so and so and they're like, well, where's our beer, where's the Brave Noise beer? I think there's other things that you can do, as we've said, that it doesn't necessarily have to be Brave Noise, but get involved with the conversation and I guess draw your line in the sand a little bit by just showing that you do care about what's happening within the industry.
Absolutely.
I think the last question I've got here is, is there any message that you'd send to non-breweries about getting involved in Brave Noise, whether that be other festivals or, bars, pubs, tap rooms, anything that's a non-brewery entity?
Yeah, I mean, I think once again, it does kind of stem from that reaching out, because I didn't know what we could do. I mean, obviously, as I said, we do festival beers, but I didn't know if that's something that the Brave Noise team would want to be involved with. I didn't think they would want to come over and do, have a presence there. You just don't know. But, the only way I found out was by asking the questions. So, there are people out there that are willing to help. And, the Brave Noise team is made up of different people in different industries within beer. So, that there are people who are in marketing as well as brewing and operations and things like that. There's a wealth of knowledge there. And I'm sure if you reached out with the right intentions, they would be more than happy to point you in the right direction, and to give some ideas of what could be done. I mean, it could quite well be that if the Brave Noise team got X amount of inquiries from pubs or bars and seeing how they can get involved, the team might realize, well, right, we need to create something here for those guys, not just for breweries, not just for home brewers. Maybe we do need to point some people in that direction. And maybe it is as simple as I mentioned earlier, a sticker on an entrance, a rainbow sticker,
really
to be
good
like,
idea, actually.
Yeah.
put that on the door. Just
If
say
if I saw a Brave Noise sticker on the door of a pub or a tap room, I'd be like, yes, this is the place I want to go into.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that plus a rainbow sticker. I mean, it doesn't even, you don't even have to be part of the LGBTQ community to understand that also means that you're welcome in here. Everyone is welcome. So I think that's a very simple way to, like, that would be my first step for any bar or pub listening. Something as simple as that, a rainbow sticker or a Brave Noise sticker or everyone's welcome initiative. Just have that on there. That is your easy way into showing people that you kind of care about what's happening, and that you want to make your place a safe space.
Work all the time, we use the phrase, you don't know what you don't know. So we very much live by, there's no stupid questions, and you don't know what you don't know. So sometimes you have to ask the questions. And by all accounts, from everyone that I've spoken to that's spoken directly to the Brave Noise team, or anybody about questions they had around the process or anything, they sound incredibly accommodating.
Oh, 100%.
They sound
got
willing
so much
to
from
do
them.
Anything, stretch deadlines, like whatever. They've only put the guidelines in place, really, it sounds like, to be able to make the most effective noise they can by limiting the space. But really, they sound incredibly accommodating.
I mean, definitely. I mean, Brienne herself, like she's not gonna be able to come over because she's opening up her own brewery, but yet she's still been putting in the hours for this. We've still had calls with her where she's involved, and in the back of your mind, you're like, how are you doing this plus trying to open up your own brewery? Like, that is so much. But it goes to show that's, this is how much it matters to them. And I think people don't need to be scared to, as you say, Tori, like, there's no stupid questions. Someone's going to be there. Yes, if you're in the UK, there's going to be a time difference. You're not going to get an email back straight away, but you will get an email back if you're showing willing to change and to make changes or to learn. They'll share you the right resources, and that's exactly what they've done with us. There's loads of resources they've pointed us to that we probably would have reached eventually if we'd gone and searched ourselves, but they've just helped us get to from A to B a lot quicker just by giving their advice.
I just want to say as well, for anyone at this point in time, for anyone that's not already following like the Brave Noise Instagram page and all that, definitely follow it, because I've seen so much additional helpful information come out as well. Like, they've offered bystander training. That could be important, if you're someone like yourself, Tom, or someone else that's in a festival or event planning or anything like that. It's probably quite important as well to attend bystander training for how to be an active bystander if you see something happening, how to intervene in a safe and respectful way. And I think that's like they're offering very valuable resources by being like, here's something for free, all you have to do is just like turn up and take the information in. And so that's not the only training they offer. That was just the one that was on the forefront of my mind. I think if you're not already following it and you're in the industry and you want to make those improvements, it's so important to follow their page and to look at these things that they're offering, the resources that they are offering you. So
yeah, definitely. Oh, this has been such a good conversation. I'm really glad we did. And this beer is so good. Seriously,
I finished it. It's gone.
I've only got a little bit left because I've been trying to savor it because it's so good. But if you are going to any of the We Are Beer festivals, get yourself something, like, get in the door, go and find this, have this as your starter beer, and then have it again later on.
So you'll start a bit and then you'll finish a bit
and then
later. Your food beer, it's all the beer.
Yeah,
it's all the beers.
It's all the beers.
Buy it for your lager friends, buy it for your new into craft friends, buy it into your they've already gone all the way around the circle friends.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. This has been an excellent conversation. I think we've got some really important points out today that are going to be really good for people to hear. Thank you so much for coming.
Yes. Thank you for your time. It's been over an hour. Really appreciate it.
It's so good. Like, this is an important thing to talk about. And, I think you've both done so well to really push this. And, I appreciate you guys are always like, oh yeah, we're still talking about it. It's like, yes, we are still talking about it, and we need to carry on speaking about this because in the UK, at least, there's still so much that we need to do within the industry to do better. So
12 breweries now.
12 now.
12
I'm
breweries
excited.
Officially.
Over my shoulder, if anyone's watching the video, I've got my Brave Noise can, so we're going to add. This one gets added.
Ceremonial adding of the Brave Noise.
I feel like it's like the Olympics or something, like the final torch.
Final torch, we put it
added to the lineup. There we go.
Well, is there any last minute things you want to plug or anything else like that
you want to plug
before we let you go?
Not really. I mean, as I said when I was talking about the Brave Noise beer, I just want to push that. But, yes, we have all the festivals. I could go and list all the dates, but
we'll link it.
I can't remember them all.
Yeah.
No.
Support the festival. Yeah. Support the festival where you can get the beer and you can support good people doing the right thing. There you go. I'll plug it for you.
There we go.
Cool. Excellent. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. Cheers. Thank you.
So the lager can has been inaugurated into
then retired
to
the wall of lineup.
It's in the Brave Noise lineup behind me now. If you're watching the video. That's exciting. There's a lager now, everybody.
And it's really good.
It's really good. Who is going to make us a Brave Noise Stout, please? Come on, someone.
Brave Noise Stout with Sabro.
Yeah.
I want to see, I would just like, it would be, I mean, we're not asking for much, as we said in the recording. Just literally, just make it. Just make it. But like, can you imagine, like, a Brave Noise saison, or like
Yes,
like
please.
just more of a farmhouse Brave Noise take on it. Or I just want to see
I'd like that.
variety. I would love it, because I would love to see, there's some breweries that just do such amazing things that aren't necessarily, you know, pale ales or like hazy IPAs or anything like that. So I think it would just be really cool, like Vault City did with theirs, to see a brewery do their favorite style, even if it's like a Belgian style or something like that, using the base of the Brave Noise recipe and then tweaking it to be more their preferred style. Like, I think that would just be so cool to see all the variety, all the colors out there. It would just be great.
Yeah, I'm excited. Just people, just make the beer. Just make it. We want it. We'll buy it. We promise.
And go to the We Are Beer festivals, because honestly, that chat was, I feel like that was a really good chat. And I think he handled some of the questions that I had that were not previously noted down. They literally just came up off the top of my head, from inspiration from, like I said at the time, like Kimberly and other places that I was like, I want to ask this question that I've heard someone else ask another party, and he didn't have to answer all those questions. And the fact that he was so transparent and I felt was really meaningful. And I've always had a really good time at the We Are Beer events. Anything that's happened has never been a cause of the event, to be honest.
Yeah, like I think we've had a really important conversation this evening. Like, Brave Noise isn't just about breweries, it's about home brewers and people in the craft beer community, and events. You can get involved too, even if you're not a brewer. So do get involved.
And pubs, tap rooms, bars, all that rooms. Like the fact that, you know,
stick your rainbow sticker in the window. Let's get some Brave Noise stickers, stick them in the window too.
Just take small steps that can equal one big movement that can make such a difference to people. And at the end of the day, maybe as we discussed with Emma before, maybe you're supposed to go down those very niche paths to get, you know, the most out of it. But the more you open it to, the more you're going to reap the benefits of. So make sure everyone feels welcome, really.
Messy action is still action. And that's what we need. We need messy action.
I like that. Messy action.
Messy action. Don't
and
just
doors open.
Think about it.
Doors still open to anyone that has already made a Brave Noise beer. If I've contacted you or not contacted you yet, or anything else, if you want to come on, you want to talk to us on our Brave Noise series, definitely reach out to.
Some of those back there are full because I've been saving them.
Yeah.
But I'm going to start drinking them soon. So you people need to get on this podcast so that I can drink your beer with you.
But if you do want to come on and talk to us about your Brave Noise, either you're planning on brewing one or you've already brewed one, even if we can't get it, that's fine. Come talk to us, message us at I was going to give my email. Message us at a woman's brew podcast at gmail.com. Is it the podcast? Have I fucked that up already?
A woman's brew podcast.
A woman's brew podcast. I made the email and I'm like, what is it? A woman's brew podcast at gmail.com. Reach out. I mean, you can also get us on our individual handles, Wines Adventures _in_optimism on Instagram. And Joe, plug the rest of your things.
Yes. You can find me at Love Beer Learning on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Pinterest. I'm mostly on Instagram. Doing a bit on TikTok. You know, you can come talk to me there. Talking to some of the American ladies over there. There is some strong American beer drinking women on the old TikTok. So
my TikTok never has any of that.
I don't know what you do to you. I don't know what you've done to your algorithm.
We're not going to talk about what's on my TikTok, but I send them to Joe.
It's weird.
I have curated it.
I don't know. You have not managed to make your way into craft beer TikTok yet. We need to
side note, everyone, keep an eye out for our Wuthering Heights.
We're gonna get on the old Kate Bush trend at some point, because you know we love,
but not the one you think.
I also have a website if you would like to come and learn about beer with me at Love Beer Learning. That is lovebeerlearning.co.uk, and you can email me lovebeerlearning@gmail.com. Right, I've actually finished my beer. You finished yours?
I did. I'm on the stouts now.
It was too delicious. So
it was too good.
On that note,
cheers.